Hey guys, so this is What If Deku was Speckles from Dino King. Now this is a request, and I just watched about a couple minutes of Dino King, and it was pretty good. Well, not good, but it was okay. It's pretty good animation. I probably had to watch it on Netflix because I'm on vacation at my grandma's house, and she doesn't have anything other than cable, so I probably had to. Part 2 is probably going to be a little bit more explained, but yeah. So basically, part 2, this is part 1. Now, guys, let's get started. Now, basically, Deku would be born in the same time as Speckles, basically being born in the Dino Age. Deku being born as a, well, whatever this is. I'm pretty sure it's a T-Rex, but I'm probably wrong. So basically, Deku would be born a dinosaur, and his name would be Speckles. Basically, Deku would be born as a dinosaur and be raised at about the age of 1 year old. Now, Deku would be about as big as an average, like, donkey, or like a, kind of like a horse, like a miniature horse, something like that. So basically, Deku would be pretty small as a dino child. But basically, Deku, this universe, quirks actually come from dinosaurs. Now, dinosaurs don't have any quirks, but with certain type of DNA from dinosaurs, if they're mixed with human blood, they can actually create superhuman abilities or quirks, perhaps. So quirks are going to be deranged from pretty much dinosaurs. Now, Deku's quirk is going to be explained a little bit more on, but yeah, so basically, Deku would lose his family, and they would all be killed by a dinosaur called One Eye. It would basically be a red T-Rex. Pretty much, he would be losing an eye, and he would be pretty brutal. He'll kill people. He'll kill dinosaurs with the trickiest tactics. Get under their skin. Pretty much, attack them when they're their weakest. And basically, that's what he did to his family and a herd of dinosaurs. So Spots killed Deku's whole family. Now, Deku would go on and live on his own for about a month. Now, at this month, Deku would be pretty much living by himself, and Deku would be about 2 years old. About as big as, about as big as a elephant. Deku would be running around, and that's when the Ice Age would hit. Ice Age would hit, and Deku would actually be frozen in solid ice on one avalanche of sorts. Deku would be frozen in ice for 6 million years, 66 million years, and Deku would be washed off the shore on a nearby beach. And this beach would be Deku Beach. Now, in this canon, this would be about 4 months until the 10-month arc train would start. And Deku would basically be about now, would be like hundreds of years old. But let's just I'm gonna get into his quirk a little bit later. So Deku would be washed in like a brick of ice, washed on shore, and be defrosted about being 10 hours there. Deku would be slightly waking up, seeing a golden-haired man that's super bulky and big, pretty much saying, "What is this?" Pretty much him getting picked up. Deku wakes up in some sort of house, some sort of kind of a penthouse type of thing. All Might's been number one hero, so he has to have some money. So All Might does have some money, but he isn't like rich, or he doesn't want to be like, take out the fame and be super rich. So he just live in like a really big penthouse. So basically, Deku will be walking around, looking around, seeing what's happening. Now the penthouse would be pretty big, and All Might would be looking up on Google, taking pictures of Deku, and seeing what was Deku, and seeing that it was some sort of dinosaur. All Might was super confused and super, got caught off guard seeing an actual dinosaur that should have been, extinct billions of years ago, millions of years ago. Basically, Deku looks up, seeing All Might. Pretty much, we were growling at All Might, trying to, eat him, not knowing what type of species of dinosaur or what All Might is. Pretty much, All Might gets on his knees and says, "It's okay." Pretty much, Deku's confused why he can understand him, because most dinosaurs, other than his own species, he can't really understand. But Deku speaks. Surprisingly, Deku speaks in human. All Might is confused. Now, with that quick encounter, let's get into Deku's quirk. Now, since quirks are derived from by dinosaurs, dinosaurs can actually adapt. That's Deku's quirk. He can adapt to human culture. Basically, Deku can adapt to having human abilities or human body. So Deku can transform into a human body. So Deku's quirk is basically being able to think and function like a human. And also Deku also keeps all of his strength and ability as a dinosaur in his human form. It's just that in his human form, Deku actually cannot build up the durability or pretty much velocity that his dinosaur form can give off, or Deku doesn't get the teeth and the tail and the claws and stuff like that. So Deku, his human form, the only other thing about his human form is he has black nails, he has sharper canine tooth than other people, and Deku also has, what was it, super senses like a T-Rex. He can smell 100%, he can hear pretty good. Deku also has okay vision, mixed with human vision, so he's okay vision, like 20/20 vision. And Deku also has the speed of a T-Rex, the strength of a T-Rex, and the durability of one. And that's basically it in his human form, other than just being able to have a human form that looks exactly like his canon form, his 16-year-old form. And Deku would have, green hair. His hair would be a lot green, would be a lot darker, but that's the only difference. And Deku would also be having reptilian type eyes when Deku gets angry. And Deku will be able to roar or growl or roar like a T-Rex in his human form. But mainly Deku will be a lot stronger in his dinosaur form. So yeah. So Deku found out that he could transform into a human form one fateful night on the third month of Deku being there with All Might. Pretty much All Might would have been feeding Deku, but also moving at the same time to a house in Japan. But this house would be pretty big and have a huge backyard, a huge front yard, and like straight up a big house. It would be like in the forest area, but like deep in the forest, like probably like a cabin type of area out of, like in Japan, so it wouldn't be big, it wouldn't be, huge, and not a lot of people would know All Might would live there, so yeah. So, All Might would have been training with Deku, pretty much training him to speak and teaching him the culture, the world, and all the other stuff. Pretty much All Might also telling Azawa and a couple other heroes. Now, the heroes are set to turn in Deku, but they did see that Deku was incredibly smart, and they didn't really, and they weren't stupid. They knew that they were going to experiment on Deku, or better yet, the, you know, pretty much the scientist or the government was going to dissect Deku or take him apart. So basically, they wanted to train Deku to become strong enough and put him under custody, and pretty much say when Deku grows up that it's some sort of mutation quirk. So Deku would be raised like a human child, just with like a huge mutation quirk. So Deku wouldn't go to school, he'd be homeschooled by Izawa and a couple other pro heroes, also being trained in more, civilized manner. But one day when Izawa comes over to All Might's house to teach Deku a little bit more math, Izawa opens the door and he sees a green-haired boy a 16-year-old looking boy, butt naked, pretty much walking off with freckles on his face. Pretty much, Azawa says, "Why are you here, boy?" Pretty much looking at the boy, just trying to see if he has a quirk, just being safe, disabling the quirk, saying that the boy transforms into a dinosaur. It's for Speckles. So basically, Azawa says, "Speckles?" And Speckles says, "Yeah, this morning I woke up with, well, looking like you people." Pretty much, Azawa called All Might, a couple other pro heroes, and they trained Deku and found out that Deku could transform into human form for as long as he wants, but when Deku gets hit hard enough, he can get broken out of his human form. Deku also has the ability of slight regeneration, not like shit up regenerating limbs, but Deku can slightly regenerate, you know, fingers and stuff like that. Not like huge body parts like arms or legs, but toes and fingers and teeth, Deku can regenerate those with no problem. And also scars and stab wounds, those are pretty easy to heal. Now, Deku can't really heal from burn marks, so that's a different type of situation. Deku also has tougher skin in his human form, but not tough enough to be as tough as his dinosaur form. So his dinosaur form is more stronger and more tougher than his human form, but his human form can dish out a lot of punches and, beatings before it starts to become a little bit more weaker. Now, Deku has the stamina of a T-Rex. A T-Rex is way bigger than a person, so Deku has a lot of stamina, and Deku has a has the strength of a T-Rex, the speed of a T-Rex, and the senses of a T-Rex. So that's literally the only thing Deku has in his human form, and also his passive regeneration. Now, also, Deku can also, I think it was the only thing, yeah, I didn't leave anything out. So Deku would be pretty much in Japan, and train with Azawa, Locke, and also a couple other pro heroes that All Might knows that would keep it on the download. Also inviting Miracle and a couple other pro heroes, Mr. Joke, Mrs. Joke, and all other pro heroes. Deku, when he was about 16, he would be sent to an actual school, and he'll be sent to a school for about 8 months at 8 months at school. Their last year at school before they go to UA. Now Deku said he wanted to go to UA to become a hero because he was told the concept of a hero by All Might. So All Might did, encourage Deku to do his, thing. Now Deku would have gone to school and pretty much walked into the UA. Now Deku would have the same body that he had doing the 10-month arc training with All Might. And guys, before I go any further, I want to ask you a question. Should Deku have all for one? No, should Deku have one for all? Should Deku have one for all or not? So Deku walks in the class, pretty much walking around and introducing himself, saying, "I'm Zuko Midoriya, and my quirk is Dino." Pretty much Deku explaining that he has the ability to transform into a dinosaur, and also the ability to have strength, senses, and other abilities from a dinosaur. Pretty much him walking off, and pretty much some of the boys and girls asking more about Deku's quirk. Pretty much Deku answers some questions, getting pretty popular, but Bakugo goes over to Deku and says, "I know you're new here, but let's just know, you're not, I'm the popular guy here, and I'm the strongest person in this class, so don't think anything else." So basically Deku says, "Should I care?" Pretty much having, that iconic kind of Goku type of facial expression, pretty much looking kind of stupid but knowing what's going on. Pretty much Deku having common sense because he was raised good by All Might and a couple other pro heroes. So Deku pretty much gets grabbed by the throat by Bakugo, no, the collar from Bakugo, and pretty much says, listen here, punk, nerd, I'm the, I'm the strongest kid in this class and in this school, so don't think anything." And pretty much Bakugo gets punched in the face. Deku getting back up and saying, "Say that again." Pretty much Deku growling. The teacher steps up and says to stop this now. Pretty much him stopping it because Deku has a quirk and they can actually hurt each other. So basically, they sit back down, Bakugo being super pissed at Deku sitting down about two rows in front of Deku. Now Deku would be sitting down, and the student and the girl in this class would be Ochaku Uraka in the same class. So basically, Ochaku was sitting right next to Deku and pretty much talking to him over the weeks and over the months, and eventually they would start dating about 2 months before the end of the school year. So pretty much Deku would be attracted to Ochaku because for some reason Deku is attracted to humans because some sort of psychological effect of his transforming thing. So basically Deku would have been pretty good boyfriend and girlfriend with Ochaku. Now guys, yeah, so that's the shit for that. So basically Deku would have went back to the last day of school getting ready for the rest of the last day of school, getting ready for UA. Pretty much Deku knowing that Ochaku was going to sign up for UA. For what reason, Deku didn't know. So Deku pretty much went to school, walking home with Ochaku, basically walking in class, sitting next to each other. Now basically Bakugo would have been walking up to... Now Bakugo's whole entire situation, Bakugo actually tried to bully Deku multiple times, about 100 times the whole entire month. About 200 times the whole entire 8 months Deku's been there. Pretty much punching, trying him, fighting Deku. Pretty much Deku having multiple suspensions, but also winning about 50 of the fights, and the other 50 Bakugo won. So they were pretty leveled in strength in there. But the last day of school, Bakugo wanted to even up the scores and see who was stronger. See who'd get 51 fights over the other. Pretty much, Deku would have been in class, pretty much flirting with Ochaku and also doing his work, getting ready for the dismissal to go home. After the whole entire conversation, after Bakugo gave his whole entire speech about he's the strongest, blah blah blah, pretty much most of the kids laughing at Bakugo saying Deku's the strongest, and other kids saying Bakugo's the strongest, pretty much debating who is stronger. Bakugo saying we can end this now, looking at Deku, pointing towards him and saying, "Meet me at the back of the school, and they'll show everybody who's stronger." Now Deku isn't a wimp, and Deku's a lot more arrogant. Not arrogant, Deku doesn't back down, you know what I'm saying? Deku doesn't back down, and Deku's super aggressive. So Deku pretty much tells Ochaku that I'm going to the fight, and pretty much Ochaku says, "Are you sure you want to do this? You already proven yourself like 50 times against Bakugo this whole year." Pretty much, oh, pretty much Ochaku being told by Deku saying, "I think this is what I want to do," and teach him, to stop being so arrogant and so, well, spoiled, and think of himself like you know, a rich, a Richie blonde kid. But basically, Deku goes down there at the back of the school and gets ready for the fight. Pretty much about like 40 or 50 people are there, pretty much recording the whole thing, saying fight, 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 fight. Deku arrives about a couple minutes after Bakugo arrives. Bakugo being in his school out uniform, just topless, and Deku just having his school uniform, but just a jacket just opened up, showing his chest. Pretty much Deku rolling up the sleeves, saying, "Let's start." Pretty much through this whole entire 8 months, Deku's never transformed into his dinosaur form against Bakugo because he thinks he'll be too, well, strong, and he'll probably break or kill Bakugo. Now Bakugo and Deku will start fighting, throwing explosions, punching, and pretty much, just fighting like normal middle school kids in, middle school for about 10 minutes. When they move on to actually using their quirks profusively, they start throwing explosions. Deku starts punching Bakugo in the stomach with his superhuman strength, pushing Bakugo in the walls and pushing him over and over again. Deku eventually grabs Bakugo by the chest, throwing him into a pillar in the back of the school. Pretty much, Bakugo getting back up, throwing a huge explosion at at Deku. Deku dodges it, but gets glazed by the face, and Deku's burn mark starts slowly regenerating, but not fast enough. So Deku starts dodging more explosions, getting glazed more and more, and gets pummeled on the ground. Bakugo throws another explosion, trying to do a finishing blow, but Deku's eyes turn bright yellow and reptilian-like, and Deku transforms into his dinosaur state, pretty much towering over Bakugo. Now, Deku didn't know how strong his dinosaur state became because he hasn't transformed into it for months. So Deku, seeing as become as big as a fully grown T-Rex, pretty much looking down on Bakugo. Bakugo being kind of scared, stepping back, saying, "What the? I've never seen you transform." Pretty much Deku swinging around, literally hitting literally the Holy Spirit out of Bakugo's body, sending Bakugo into the same pillar he got hit into, him flying through the pillar into a set of benches, pretty much him getting knocked out and a few broken bones. So pretty much Deku de-transforms with his clothes being ripped off, pretty much everybody looking. Chaku throwing her jacket at Deku, saying to, cover up. Pretty much Deku walking off. Pretty much Chaku saying, Deku, you really need to actually tell me that you can't transform your clothes as you transform. Pretty much Deku saying, I never transformed in school or for the last 8 months. I never knew my transformation got that big. Pretty much Deku takes off the jacket around his waist that Ochako gave him, and Ochako grabs the jacket, saying, "What are you doing?" Looking straight at Deku, not even blinking, just looking straight down at Deku. Pretty much Deku saying, "Why are you staring so hard?" Pretty much her saying, no reason, pretty much blushing like it's no tomorrow. Pretty much her face being like a peach. Pretty much Deku saying, "Well, I'm gonna go home." Pretty much Ochaku saying, "What are you doing? You're just gonna walk home naked?" Pretty much Ochaku says, "I'll be right back," getting some gym clothes, giving them to Deku. Deku puts them on and says, "Okay, well, I'm going back home. Meet you tomorrow." Pretty much hugging Ochaku, kissing her on the cheek, pretty much walking off. Now Ochaku and Deku haven't did it, but yeah, so basically not gonna really talk about that anymore. So Deku basically goes back home, telling his dad, or like his adopted dad, aka All Might, about everything. All Might says that's pretty interesting. Pretty much All Might All Might hasn't told Deku about the all whole entire One for All thing. So guys, basically Deku starts training as normally because Deku's been trained mostly his whole life of being in the modern day time. Pretty much Deku being trained harder over the 10-month arc training, getting ready, and basically getting taken to pretty much UA. Deku getting a recommendation instead of going to the entrance exam from All Might. So Deku got a recommendation going to UA, pretty much walking into UA class 1A, looking around, seeing Todoroki, a couple other entry exam students, and Ochaku. Basically, Deku ran over to Ochaku and says, "You got in," pretty much hugging Ochaku. Ochaku says, "Yeah," pretty much saying that Bakugo saved me in the entry exams because I only got squished by a robot. Basically, Deku says, "You never told me that." Pretty much Bakugo walking into class, looking at Deku, saying, "I should have known you got in," and pretty much sitting down. Now, Bakugo having a little bit more, Bakugo having some bruises, but being pretty much back in the shape. Pretty much Deku walking over to Bakugo saying, "Is all your bones healed?" Bakugo getting angry, throwing his backpack off of his shoulders, saying, "What do you mean, punk?" Pretty much looking at Deku. Deku's eyes getting reptilian-like, pretty much them getting split up by Ochaku saying to stop fighting, guys. You already settled this back at school. Deku won and Bakugo lost. Just admit it, Bakugo, you're weaker than Deku. Just get over it. Pretty much Bakugo says, "I'm never gonna get over it, and I'm not weaker than this punk. He's a lizard scum, and he has He's just stupid. Pretty much, Deku says, "Is that all you got? I thought you'd be better at comebacks, Bakugo." Bakugo walks off, looking around, class, pretty much talking to other students. Now, pretty much, Deku would have been talking to Ochaku, being stopped when Azawa walks into class, explaining to the class to get ready for entry exams. Now, for quirk assessments. So basically, everybody gets ready and gets in their gym clothes, and Deku gets told to get ready. Pretty much, Deku throws the ball with his T-Rex strength, getting a pretty good score, getting about B plus for the whole entire long jump. Deku gets an A plus, or just an A. For the race, Deku gets a B, not a plus, just a B. And for the grip test strength, Deku gets a B plus. So Deku gets a pretty good score altogether and gets about third place. And now basically Bakugo gets fourth place. Bakugo being pretty angry at this. Now the people in front and second the front would be Todoroki and the second would be, I don't know, you pick, guys. So basically Deku would have gotten ready. You know what, Scratch Deku would actually be second place and Bakugo will be third place. So yeah, so Deku pretty much, and everybody else is getting handed their syllabus, gets told to go home, and Deku walks Ochaku home. Pretty much walking back home, but Ochaku stopping Deku, kissing him on the cheek, kissing him not on the cheek, on the lips, saying good night, pretty much saying bye. Deku walks back home, pretty much getting ready, and his dad's saying, was everything good at UA? Pretty much All Might saying, what's up with Ochaku? Are you guys still dating? Deku says, yeah, we're still dating, and it's pretty good. Pretty much, Deku just going to sleep that night, not having any dinner, but just eating like a huge pack of raw meat in the middle of the night. Because Deku does still have his dinosaur, nature, so Deku eats straight up raw meat for like every meal. Like Deku just drinks water, juice, or soda with just raw meat. Deku doesn't eat anything else. Doesn't eat fries, broccoli, green, nothing. Deku just eats raw meat. There's raw meat. Like there's nothing else Deku eats. Deku just eats raw meat. That's literally the only thing he eats. Raw meat. So basically, Deku pretty much All Might isn't wrong with that because like All Might doesn't really need to cook that much because Deku just eats raw meat and actually his human body is changed internally, having the stomach or a miniature version of the stomach with the T-Rex. Pretty much him being able to eat raw meat with no problems. Now Deku would tell All Might that this is pretty good. I don't know what was it. All Might would be pretty much going to UA, saying, I'll meet you at school, and pretty much leaving pretty much home about 2 hours before school's about to start. Deku gets up, and we're gonna leave it off here, guys. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, hope you guys like and subscribe, and as always, guys, have a blessed day. Also, guys, you should already know this, but if you're a new subscriber, you can request any video, and I'll most likely will do it because this is a request, and I like it a lot. So guys, hope you guys like the video, hope you guys like and subscribe. As always guys, have a blessed day. Bye.